Alright, hold on. Are we good over on the old Twitch machine here? Because I am double live. Yeah, okay, I'm double live, baby. Let me get this link shared everywhere. And then I need to go to twitch.tv ZRLS11, right? Yeah. There we go. That's the link I'm looking for. Alright, it's been a while since I've had to juggle two different things here at once, but here we are. I guess I'll go ahead and pull myself up on screen. Hi, everybody. I'm gonna move the webcam. Actually, that shows more. Looking at it that way. That's fine. We'll just kind of push everyone here to the side. That's fine. That's fine. We're making it work. We're making it work. Okay. Yeah, we're double live tonight. Says I'm gonna do that, and I just do this anyway. Gonna be a lot of stuff here tonight over on the Twitch. We are gonna be live all night for the Raw watch along here as well. YouTube, we'll move over to LS11 Universe for that. But I got stuff to talk about, so I got a lot to talk about tonight. We'll let some people kind of trickle in here as I get all this sorted out. I would like to actually like quarter screen it, not full screen it, if that would be possible. Let's see. Where's... I suppose that could work, maybe. Nope, that is as small as that'll go. So there we go. That'll work, I suppose. And then we can pull OBS up over here. There we go. That left monitor is being used by everything now. So that'll work. And then let me grab my presentation and pull it over here. I made a presentation for everybody here tonight. So that's gonna be fun. That's the main thing we're doing. Got a lot to talk about. I'm gonna let, as I said, gonna let some people kind of trickle in for this one. But yeah, so a lot to talk about tonight. Give people a minute. We'll get some music playing in the background here as well, so it's not just me saying a lot to talk about tonight over and over for the next couple minutes. We'll get some okay, hold on. Can I? There we go. That has been in my YouTube hotbar for years. Have I finally gotten rid of it by doing that? No, it's just in there. Is it like in my history? Is that what it is? I'm falling down a rabbit hole here. Nope, that's just how it is. Okay. Hey, good to see you, Tatum. Alright, let me get this pulled up in the background here. Hey! Okay. So let's chat, shall we? So I got a lot to talk about tonight because I've been doing YouTube forever at this point. It's been in my life longer than it hasn't, which is kind of, in its own right, a crazy thing to talk about, right? So I've got this presentation made, okay? And I made this presentation, and we're gonna talk about it. Yeah, everyone good if we do that? I mean, I don't really care if we're all good that I did that, because that's what this stream is for, is to talk about this until, for like an hour, like just to break down some stuff and talk about some stuff, talk about what's been going on, like where content is at, that kind of stuff. Because like I do a lot of stuff, I have 4 channels and a Twitch, technically 5 channels if you count all of that. And at this point, it's like doing that with a full-time job and being married is its own like Herculean effort that I put in every week. And I don't feel like I've been respecting all of my content as much as one another. And in 2025, I want to work on that. But not only that, I want to work on like me as a person. So this is Zander's big 2025 content creation presentation. That's what we're looking at today. It's a PowerPoint presentation, so I hope you all are looking forward to that. I suppose I'm going to go ahead and tell everyone in the Discord. Just tell everyone in Discord it's a PowerPoint presentation, because for some reason, you weirdos really like that kind of stuff. So let's talk about it, right? There's 20-something slides to go through here. I threw this together yesterday when I was kind of down in the dumps and like on the verge of a pretty bad crash out. So I threw this together and decided that it was going to be kind of my way of trying to get my life kind of back on track after what has been otherwise a bit of a rocky year for me with content creation. So let's take a look at this PowerPoint presentation. Let's go through it. I'll address chat over time with this, but I do want to mainly focus on this. So let's just start off with the overview. So I have not one, not two, not three, but 4 YouTube channels, and I am the entire production team for all of them, with a limited exception on LS11 Universe, right? We have WrestleLuigi, LS11 Universe, Zander LS11, and Zander Live / The Sanctuary / I've been thinking about renaming it to maybe ZRC Productions or ZRC Entertainment. Something like that. Something that's a little more just me, because that's just what it is, you know? Like, WrestleLuigi, Zander LS11, and Sanctuary, I am the entire production team. Ray does his 2 videos a week, sometimes 3 when he has a special. But otherwise, I'm the entire production team across all of this, which is a lot. Let's just call it what it is, you know? It's a lot. It's more than anyone should really be undertaking in life as a YouTuber, let alone trying to balance it with other stuff. So I'm actually going to go through and break down the analytics of how these channels all performed last year. So for my numbers people, the people who are interested in that kind of stuff, this is going to be the kind of thing you want to look at. Let's talk about WrestleLuigi first. It started July 22nd, 2024. It started the week of my birthday, and it was me trying to scratch an itch this summer that was there that I had for a while, and also it kind of came at a time where I knew I was about to quit my job, and I knew I was about to quit my old job and try and focus on YouTube and content creation more, and just kind of bet on myself, which is something that I've always been really scared to do, you know? Like, betting on myself is something that I don't really do that often because I haven't really ever swung it out of the park on that kind of stuff. So doing this kind of stuff is always nerve-wracking. So I started WrestleLuigi about a month before I was going to quit my job, because I was kind of going back and forth on if I was going to or not throughout the month of August. And ultimately I did. But the idea was that I was going to use it as my way of doing like real-life wrestling videos, like reviews, that kind of stuff. And there's only been 10 videos on it, but it was also a live stream channel for a while. And it was doing pretty well there, I'll admit. I was having a lot of fun with it. Only put out 10 videos on it, but it earned 7,000 views and 85 subscribers with just 10 videos, which is pretty insane to think about. It's just been wrestling reviews, predictions, analysis. Pretty much a way to scratch that itch to do that kind of content without bogging down LS11 Universe, because people don't want to watch that on LS11 Universe. So the kind of content it makes is prediction matches, predictions for results and cards, show reviews, fantasy booking, rebooking, other wrestling ideas that I have. Like I did the quiz video, who's going to be the next champion, all that kind of stuff. And I really enjoy doing that kind of stuff because it's an easy kind of turn my brain off and just talk video content. But let's talk about more of it. Here's the goals I have set up for WrestleLuigi for 2025. I want to start making 2 to 3 videos per week for the channel and remain consistent with that. I don't know what that upload schedule would look like, but maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, something like that. I want to slowly transition the watch-alongs back over to WrestleLuigi as well as it gets more and more popular through either co-streaming with LS11 Universe or just trying to clean up the timeline of what LS11 Universe subscription feeds look like again. I want to find more video ideas to engage viewers as well. You know, not doing something you're going to see 1,000 times a day in your feed from everybody else. I want to find my niche. I want to find what people really want to come to Wrestle Luigi for? Like, what stands me apart from all these other, from the million other channels that do this kind of stuff, right? Like, what else is there that I can do that I will enjoy doing, where I can scratch the wrestling itch I have without oversaturating an already very saturated market? And as well as that, integrate other kinds of wrestling content based on what you guys want to see and just what other people want to see in general from me with that kind of stuff, you know? And so that brings me on to the challenges, though. There's some challenges with that for Wrestle Luigi. And that is, there are countless other channels that do this kind of stuff. Santi Zap, Wrestle Juice, Denise, so on and so forth. There's thousands of other channels out there doing this kind of content every single day. And I know that I run into a lot of potential issues with that, because that means that I'm stepping into, as I said, a very saturated market. But that's okay. I know that. It's a challenge I'm aware of. Also, finding original ideas in the wrestling world for content creation is so difficult in the year 2025. Everyone's got their niche, and I gotta find mine. I also have a bad habit of having the exact same ideas as the aforementioned channels the same days they do them. God knows Santi and I have uploaded the same video topic, like within the same 10-minute time frame, at least 2 or 3 different times out of the 10 videos I did. And the fact that that happened is kind of insane, especially with me only doing 10 videos on Wrestle Luigi last year. Scripting also takes a lot of time, especially for videos like How Zander Would Book. And I'm a one-man team, so I don't have anyone to help me out, whereas a lot of these other channels, they send the raw footage off to editing teams, and it's pretty easy for them to just throw it over to the editor, and the editor to get it up in a couple of hours. Whereas me, that's all me. And I also have 1,000,001 other things I do. That being said, here's my mission statement for Wrestle Luigi in the year 2025, okay? I'm going to release 2 to 3 videos per week, even if it's just immediate post-Raw and SmackDown reactionary reviews, like I did that one time that I really enjoyed doing. I'm going to grow Wrestle Luigi to at least 250 subscribers in 2025. Starting small, that was the same year 1 goal we had for LS11 Universe, and we knocked that out of the park. Year 1, 2020, we ended up with like 350 subs by the end of the year, when the goal had been 250. I'm going to find the content balance that people want to see across the channel, booking, reviews, opinions, and I'm officially going to transition the name of it from How Zander Would Book to How Insert Company Should Have Booked or Should Book, to increase the search engine optimization results. Because, unfortunately, no one's really looking for How Zander Would Book. They're looking for How WWE Should Have Booked, How WWE Should Book. And the first 2 videos I'm working on with this are How WWE Should Book Royal Rumble 2025 in its entirety, and How WWE Should Have Booked Viper and the Family. Now, I already had this entire video filmed, but I'm probably going to refilm it because it's very stuttery, and it has a lot going for it that I feel like it could do with a second take, and that maybe I should try it one more time, and I think it would do wonders if I did it one more time. Moving on to Zander Live / The Zanctuary channel. Here's what it looked like. It started on January 1st last year. It was like my big, I'm going to get back into doing gaming content channel, and then I released 2 videos. Yeah, that was it. 2 videos, 23 streams, 730 viewers, 49 subscribers. Started small, stayed small. It got the least amount of attention, in fact, to the point where YouTube stripped away a lot of its advanced features from this channel, and so I've had to re-verify my identity with YouTube to even get the ability to live stream back this channel. Otherwise, we'd have been over there. If I'd known that, well, we would be over there right now. But it's going to take a couple days for them to verify my identity a second time. But it's essentially live streaming gameplay content, similar to channels like AlphaRad. And so, type of content on that channel, themed gameplay videos, stream archive, that kind of stuff. But here are the goals I have for Zanctuary 2025, and I might rename it to like ZRC or something like that. Just something that, you know, because Zanctuary apparently is already in use by a few other people. Transition the channel into something else. I want to find a final identity that really determines what I'm going to use the channel for. I want to move gameplay back over to Twitch, where I'm also at right now, twitch.tv/Zander_LS11. That name is never changing at this point. I want to move gameplay back over there. That way, it helps with the identity here. And use this channel for something else. I want to experiment with content like, I watched XYZ, so you don't have to. Playing insert game until the challenge is completed. I also want to get better at using the Zanctuary channel to watch shows and movies or play games that I haven't had time for otherwise. There's some channels I follow that do this kind of stuff, where it's like first time watching this, showing this person, like showing my best friend this, showing my wife this, or playing this for the first time. That kind of stuff. I'd like to use Sanctuary as a way to do that, to hold myself accountable to watching new stuff, experiencing new stuff, outside of the wrestling bubble that I have been in for so long. I've talked about this wrestling bubble a lot, and it's not that I don't love making wrestling content, I do, but I have a passion to do other kind of content as well, and wrestling is holding me back from that. So I want to dip my toes in and get my feet wet with some other kind of content, and this is just going to be the way that we do that, is through experimenting with stuff on Sanctuary. And Sanctuary is really going to be the experimental channel. The potential issues there is, it's the least important of the 4 channels. And I know this, we all know this. I think most people know this, that Sanctuary is the least important to me of the 4 channels. And it's kind of inconsistent with how much I stick with it. There's a recent spark with this kind of content as well, so it feels like that market might be a little oversaturated. Finding things that make my analysis entertaining, so I'm not just uhing the entire time. And also trying not to just be another game or movie or show review channel, because we all know there's a lot of those already, and the last thing we need is me to become the next JonTron, but I feel like I'm far less racist than JonTron, so I feel like we don't run any risk of that. But here's the mission statement for Sanctuary in 2025. I'm going to start small. We're going to use the channel to experiment with various ideas. I'm not going to be afraid to release videos that I know are going to flop, videos that I know aren't going to be successful. And it's just going to be a way to, experiment, get my feet wet, and use it to really just scratch the itch I have outside of wrestling. I'm going to also break 100 subscribers. If we could get 50 with being this inconsistent on that channel, we can get to 100 if I start being consistent. I'm also going to watch at least 20 different shows or movies on the channel and make videos out of it. And I'm also going to do at least 5 different games on the channel this year. The first things are, I'm going to finally watch all 3 seasons of Sonic Prime after everyone has been telling me to for God knows how long at this point. And I am going to finally finish Insomniac's Spider-Man 2. That's the 2 big goals on there. That'll start soon. I don't know how soon, but it will start soon-ish across Sanctuary, ZRC Studios, whatever I end up calling it, I think ZRC Studios is kind of where I'm leaning with it right now. It's also going to get it's also going to be getting a logo facelift, because this logo is from when it was just a live stream channel, and I feel like there's more that can be done with it. So let's talk about this channel, the channel you're watching on right now over on YouTube and Twitch, Zander LS11. It's the pre-existing channel, it's the oldest channel, it's the grandfather of my YouTube channels. Turned 13 in 2024, which is pretty crazy. We did that big live stream announcement about my 13-year YouTube anniversary, which is wild to think that we are now entering year 14 of me doing this. That means that my YouTube channel at this point is older than many of things. And, that's in its own right just absolute insanity to really think about, that I have been around longer than a lot of things. That is, to give you some numbers on that, that is longer than the United States Confederacy lasted. So make statues of this channel, is what I'm saying to that. Racists. As well as that, it's lasted through, what? 4 different presidential elections. It will have gone through 4 different presidential numbers at this point when it turned this year. And it's gone through my entire marriage, my entire relationship with my wife, among a million other things. But to look at the analytics of it, this channel had 34 videos come out this year, most of them in the latter half of the year. Most of them being recently at that, with doing these figure reviews, which I've really enjoyed doing, and quite clearly, people have really enjoyed watching those. It's also getting 118 subscribers, which is insane, because this channel sat with 0 subscribers gained for about 5 straight years. When I was uploading Let's Play content on this channel every single day for 3 years straight. I passed the 670 curve, and at this point, with this year added in, it has cracked. It has cracked 800 subs, which is insane to think about. And at this point, it feels like it's going to get partnered on YouTube within the next couple months. And so what do I do on this channel? I do figure reviews, I do stop motion, custom figure content, and soon content with the 3D printer over there that chat helped me buy. So what else with it? What are the goals this year? The goals are to completely transition Zander LS11 into being not just like the hub that it is for everything else. It is going to completely transition into being a full-blown toy and figure channel. Because that's just what it is. I want to finally release the first parts of the Zander stop-motion cinematic universe. I have written the first episode for it, which is Sonic Speed Adventure Episode 0. I have begun scripting the second video for it. I've started getting logos and ideas made for upcoming episodes and series and movies on it. I've been working on figures. I want to push forward to making this channel take off and become bigger. Find my feet as a figure creator again. It has been almost 10 years since I last did a full-blown custom action figure, and I've now been working on just one for the last several weeks, and there's the body of him. I have to sit down and actually sew the jacket for him. And as well as that, I want to learn how to master the 3D printer and 3D modeling for custom figures, to not only just use it for this channel, but to use it for my own personal gain, which is not something you hear a lot of people admit they're going to do. Yeah, I'm going to be using this printer for my own personal gain. That's what I bought it for. Not only do I want to use it to make figures, I want to use it to make things that I enjoy, things that are just for me. Like this Luigi statue here is nothing to do with content creation. I made this for me. I made a controller holder for my wife, a couple of statues from my roommate. I have made several things for my friends and my wife and my roommate and my family at this point. And so I want to use it to also make a secondary income by learning how to 3D model and make my own custom stuff. There are some issues, though. Stop motion takes weeks of work for simple things. Producing content fast enough is going to become an issue. I know this. I'm going to have to spend a solid amount of money to keep figure reviews coming out regularly as well. And for a guy that's kind of in a lot of financial debt like myself, which, I don't go into detail on that because it's nobody's business other than my own, that's always something very nerve-wracking to do, is to spend money on toys that often. I'm also going to have to look for help from voice actors and friends when it comes to writing and voiceover work and character acting for the stop-motion cinematic universe. My patience never really been great. I'm a pretty impatient person when it comes to myself. I'm fairly patient with other people, but with myself, it's a little tough, and I know I'm going to get impatient and run into frustration and burnout. I also have to balance years worth of planning while making sure I understand that I'm working on 3 other channels, and also the Zander Stop Motion Cinematic Universe is not going to be a 1 year and then everything out thing. I'm not going to be able to finish the entire Chaos Saga, as I'm calling it, in a year. It's going to take me several years. Like, we'll probably be sitting here in 2029 still talking about it. About, Sonic Speed Adventure, Mario and Luigi Chaos Quest, Dark Tomorrow, and everything else that's coming out with it. I'm adding more and more. So it's going to get intense. Unless YouTube becomes my full-time job, it's going to take a lot of time to get all of this out. Making custom figures is also a very big thing to try and get used to again. It's taken a lot of work and a lot of learning curve. I also have to find my voice of being a reviewer so that not all of reviews are 3 to 4 minutes long. Don't get me wrong, people seem to be enjoying them being that short. Short form, it gets straight to the point, it shows you the figure, it talks about it. It doesn't waste your time unnecessarily, but also at the same time as that, you also have to sit there and be entertaining for that entire time while not just being over the top. And then 3D modeling and editing, it's not easy. I've been trying to learn it, but also it's been a very steep learning curve, especially the editing of 3D models. I'm going to use some live stream time to work on that, but I do, of course, have my channel mission statements, as in saying, I am going to do this, not I want to do this. I am going to do this. That way, if I fail, I can say, well, I didn't tell myself it was okay to fail. What do we do to keep pushing through? So, I'm going to put out at least 1 stop-motion video per month, even if it's just a 10-minute episode. The trailer was nearly 2 minutes long and took me a little over an hour to make, so I figure if I dedicate 1 day a month, I can get an episode out a month. I want to complete at least 10 customs, and I listed 10 characters to give myself a starting point. That being Scourge, Metal Knuckles, Mecha Sonic Mark II, Dark Bowser from Bowser's Inside Story, Mr. L from Super Paper Mario, the Koopa Bros from the original Paper Mario, and Sage from Sonic Frontiers. I want to create at least 1 completely from scratch 3D model in terms of figure creation. not just taking a pre-existing 3D model and converting it into a figure. I don't know who that's going to be yet. It could even be as simple as making myself. I want to break 1,000 subscribers and get this channel officially partnered and monetized. I also want to release at least one of the teased stop-motion movies. I announced 3. Actually, I have now announced 4 stop-motion movies. I want to release at least one of them in 2025, that being either Luigi's Mansion, Night of the Werehog, or Waluigi's Lament. Team Chaotix and The Legend of Mewtwo, and Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Guardians of the Multiverse, those can wait, those need to wait, those need a lot more setup before I'm ready to actually start doing them. And also, I want to complete the entire script this year for the Chaos Saga. And here is the official first thumbnail for the Chaos Saga, Sonic Speed Adventure, Episode 0, Ground Zero. I don't have a release date for it yet, but I am hopeful to get the final customs I need, which is Metal Knuckles and Scourge. I have a Knuckles figure ready to go. I need to 3D print the head, and I need to 3D print the hands and feet. And then I will be ready to go with making Metal Knuckles. Now here's the one that I know pretty much everyone here actually cares about, because I built my name doing wrestling content, that being LS11 Universe. This channel turned 5 years old in 2024. It's entering its 6th birthday. It's a first grade channel now, which is exciting. So let's talk about LS11 Universe. 356 standard videos released this year, 95 live streams, 425.3 thousand views, and 1.3 thousand subscribers gained this year. It's a Universe mode. That's what people are here for. Universe mode, watch along, and 2K gameplay streams are what the people came here for. They don't really care when I do GM mode. They don't care when I do the fantasy stuff. That's what we're getting into. Here's the goals. I've kept it simple for LS11 Universe because I'm not the only one doing LS11 Universe. So I didn't want to make it sound like I was setting goals for Ray. Streamline and become more focused for Universe. I feel like I've got too many hands on the stove, too many things on the burners. I've got, too many eggs on the fryer. All those kind of sayings. Too many eggs in my basket. All of that. I'm overflowing my bucket, and I need to step back a little bit. I need to ease off the gas. I need to balance out the frequency for Retro Series and find a better schedule for it. That way it's not as sporadic. I want to experiment with better ways to keep people interested, and I don't want to oversaturate the channel again. I feel like that's a problem that turns a lot of people away, is too much content. There's people who do not enough content, and there's people who do too much. And I think I've been straying more towards the too much content lately. It's hard for people to keep up. We're asking people to keep up with, 4 videos a week anyways. And I feel like adding too many videos a week is already a lot. And so I'm trying not to oversaturate the channel this year. There's a lot of issues, potentially, for LS11 Universe this year, though. That being that people aren't as interested in the indies and ARW and all that stuff. And the one that gets the most interest is LAW, but that's also because people want to see their self-inserts on the channel. We all know this, but also I need to learn to cut back on that kind of stuff because it's damaging the channel and it's, quite frankly, more importantly, burning me out to keep doing stuff like LAW all the time. That's not meaning that LAW is over and done with. That just means I'm going to ease back from the once a week to maybe once every other week at this rate. There's also a stubbornness to maintain a schedule and getting short-tempered when goals aren't met. Now, this one is a little more directed at Ray, because I do get kind of short-tempered. I will be the first to admit, I get a little short-tempered when SmackDown or AEW are late or just don't come out at all. I get a little frustrated and angry when that happens, and I gotta learn to be understanding with it and just kind of not get frustrated, not yell at anyone. I don't yell at anyone, fortunately. I manage to be mature about it, while also just being incredibly, I go into frustrated dad mode, where I just kind of rub my temples, shake my head, and go, of course, when something goes wrong, including when I do it. I also need to make sure I'm not shilling the memberships and Patreons as hard. I feel like I do that a little too much, and I've started easing back on it. Pretty much, if something now, I just now have the Patreon bumper at the start, and I mention it maybe once, maybe twice an episode. I've gotten rid of the victory fanfare punch-out thing at the end and replaced it with a standard outro screen that shows a playlist and a video to see if that boosts some more audience retention and click through into other videos. And also, I need to make sure that I remember that the vocal audience members who are kind of impatient or they try to sabotage chat and comments when they aren't getting their way or don't like things, I let that get under my skin a little too much. I get caught up on the negativity of that. And I also got to keep things going fresh, because it's going on 6 years of Universe, and sometimes I'm worried I'm running out of ideas. Like, this is 2 years longer than I did on the previous channel, and I was out of ideas on that one pretty early on. Don't ask me how many times I went back to Dean Ambrose versus Randy Orton, because it was a lot. So, at this point, it's a lot to think about. I have to keep that in mind. I have to keep that balance in mind. I got to make sure I don't focus on the negativity. I got to make sure that, the vocal 5 people aren't outweighing the actual desires of the respectful fans. So here's my mission statement with LS11 Universe this year. I'm going to come back again, focus on Raw and NXT each week, main event when there's time. LAW and other indies are going to go on the back burner for the time being to ensure I have time for other projects. I'm not going to let wrestling consume my life again this year. I have other things I want to do, and I want to have fun making other content again. I got to learn when enough is enough. I got to learn to reel it in, not do too much content all the time for the sake of, well, I've got an extra hour, let's make a video. I also don't want to let the hate comments live rent-free like I have before. Take my shot back at them and move on, or just delete the comment and move on. I also want to find the balance for retro events and focus on one time period at a time, like what I'm trying to do with the 2015 into 2016 stuff, instead of being so sporadic and jumping around at random, because it's been making the timeline hard to keep up with at that rate. I also want to find the right balance of what people want to see and what I want to do, and find the happy medium there with that. Because, I love doing stuff like ARW, but you guys don't vibe with it that often. So I lower it down to once, twice a year with ARW, doing just a big event here and there, and being able to accept the L if that video is going to flop. But at least I got to do a little bit with it to get out of my system. I also need to stop forcing myself to feel like I'm obligated to do so many shows a week. Like, I do Raw, NXT, main event, LAW, another indie, and usually a premiering pay-per-view almost every week. That's too much. I'm going to cut back and just do Raw, NXT, any premium live events I need to, main event if I have time, and LAW maybe every other week from here on out, just because every other week feels a lot more manageable nowadays than trying to do too much at once. And I also need to stop forcing myself into double premiere weekend all the time. It's fun to do it maybe once a month, but there's been time periods where like every weekend in a month was a double premiere weekend, which meant I was producing 8 premieres in 4 weeks, which meant I was producing over 24 hours of content in the space of a month, meaning a full day of my month. An entire 30th of my month was dedicated just to watching premieres, or in some cases, if you want to, look at a premiere, I say it takes about quadruple the time to make a premiere, so an entire near week of my life was dedicated just to premiering videos when it came to making and editing them. So the goals in general now is what I want to talk about. This is my life goals. This is separate from the 4 channels we've just talked about. I want to spend more time just being Zander, not having to talk into a microphone all the time. I want to get more into casual art that doesn't have anything to do with YouTube. You guys might not know this. I am an artist. My wife is an artist. My roommate's an artist. I live in a family of artists. And I don't want to just do art that's for YouTube, right? Like, most of the art I do nowadays is to go on YouTube thumbnails or to advertise stuff. And I want to draw stuff that's just for me, just for fun, again. I also want to finish one of the 2 books I'm writing. I'm writing 2 books. I've talked about it a little bit. I'm writing a personal memoir, a biography memoir kind of thing. Self-help a little bit involved in it. I'm also writing a fictional novel. And I want to complete one of those this year and get it published this year. That way people can actually read it. Also this year, I want to go to more events that aren't work-related. I went to Sonic Symphony last week with my wife and my roommate, and it was amazing. Like, I laughed, I cried, I screamed, I lived and learned. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life to go to an event that's literally been a bucket list item of mine for a couple of years now, ever since it first got announced, right after the pandemic. And it was so nice to not have my phone out and be filming things, not to worry about, oh, I have to do this for YouTube. I have to cover all of this. I got to make sure I'm ready to talk about this with this. It was nice to just sit down and be a Sonic fan and enjoy that. My wife and roommate went to a convention called Animazement last year, and I turned down going because I had to work at my old job, and it wasn't easy to get off work at that point. And they had the best time, and I want to go I want to go to that with them this year. I also want to complete my teaching degree. I revealed a few months ago it's kind of one of my dream jobs to be a teacher, a college teacher at that. And I have to work hard to get there. And so I want to do that this year. It's January. It gives me 12 months to figure it out. A personal fitness goal that I actually started working on just before I went live here is increasing my endurance and lowering my resting heart rate. I'm in terrible shape. I'm 24 years old. I'm about to be 25. My resting heart rate is approaching 80 at this rate with how bad I'm in, with how bad a shape I'm in. I have high blood pressure and I'm always stressed. So I own an exercise bike and I want to spend at least 30 minutes a day on that or doing some other form of physical activity to try and shave some weight off and to try and lower my resting heart rate. I'm also going to integrate that into content creation in a way, but we'll get more on that later. I also want to just be more involved in the lives of my friends and my wife and everyone else. Because I've been lost in work for so long that people are just used to me not being around. And I don't want people in my life that I love and care about to just be used to me not being around. That's not fair to them and it's not fair to me. I also want to get better at budgeting. I get better at budgeting, not and budgeting, but I want to get better at budgeting. Because I'm really good at spending money. I'm not good at saving it. I've been trying for years to be better at saving money, and I've just never been that great at it. But now I want to work hard to try and fix that. I want to try and save money. I want to try and have a decent savings built up. That way, if I have another situation like my car's alternator blowing out twice in the space of a month, I can afford it. I don't have to borrow money from someone. You know? I have debts that need to get paid off, that kind of stuff. I also want to find a job closer to home. You guys don't know this. I work almost an hour away from my house, which means 2 hours of my day are just spent in the car going to and from work. I also want to, finally, this year, I plan that this year will be the year that streaming and content creation becomes a secondary income source, enough to where I could work a little more part-time and do more YouTube stuff. And a big one that I added last minute was kind of practice patience. I mentioned earlier, I'm very impatient with myself. I need things to get done now. There is no excuse. I'm just lazy if I don't get it done now. And I've been really bad at denying myself by doing that a lot. Especially lately with YouTube, especially LS11 Universe. So I gotta get better at telling myself no. And telling other people no. And having the patience to trust myself on that. And not just think I'm wasting my life by not being productive 24/7. I need to, get to a point where I don't hate going to sleep. Because, oh, well, I could be doing so much content right now. It's not a healthy way to live life, and I'd like to see 40, so gotta work on that. So, here's my ideas on how I'm going to accomplish my goals on YouTube and Twitch and in life. So with YouTube, I'm going to start releasing a weekly or monthly schedule on lslmuniverse.com and all my social medias, and you guys are going to be able to help me stick to it. I'm not going to call in sick from streams just because I'm a little tired. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to try and stream on Twitch twice a week. Do the things I love, and it'll start paying off. That's what I'm going to tell myself. Do what I love, and people are going to love watching me do what I love. That's what I need to remember. People love seeing people passionate about things. I'm also not going to force myself to do things that I don't want to do just because other people want to see it and I'm burnt out. It's kind of the LSWF conundrum, or the TNA conundrum, or the New Japan and Ring of Honor conundrum. Ray and I've been burnt out on that kind of content. People wanted to see it, but it just wasn't viable for us to keep doing it. So we finally just put our foots down and stopped. I also want to start setting up content for the 3D printer. Live stream stuff while it's printing. Create a more revenue source using things like 3D design. I also want to produce more content on Patreon that actually appeals to all of my viewers. Over on my personal side, I actually started this already. I've started doing a daily to-do list. You can't see it super well, but I time blocked it to while I was at work, after work, doing my second job of delivering, and now that I'm home. And so I can actually cross off go live at 7 before Zander gets his life in order. And now I'm down to just what I have scheduled for the live stream later tonight. And so I also want to reorganize my office space to make room for my exercise bike and find a better spot for the 3D printer. I've got an idea for it, but I also need to reorganize my office to make all of that happen. I just don't know what the optimal layout for the office is going to be to make all of that happen at this point. Because I've got my shelves over there at this point, and moving those would be a hassle. Though it feels like it might be the necessary evil to do so, and to, essentially, I might have to take my desk apart and move it around again. And, it's an annoying thing to think about, but it is kind of where my brain is at right now. I want to, especially because I need to make a setup to do stop motion content as well. I also want to share my work schedule more publicly with my family and friends so they know when they can expect to spend time with me so that we can spend time together. I want to set nights off to spend more time with my family each week. My wife and roommate barely see me during the week and they live with me. So imagine what it's like for my family who don't see me all the time. I'm always just incredibly busy. And so the final thing is I want to set word goals per week with personal incentives for my book. This week, I'm setting the goal for myself that I want to finish 2 chapters of my self-help memoir, Hey Buddy, Hey Bo. Now, I'll explain more what that is on a later date, probably when I get closer to announcing the actual launch of the book. But I have been stuck on page 4 of this book for 3 months now, and it's time to actually work on it and get it done. So yeah, that's it. So, here's to making 2025 the best year of content I've ever done. That's what I'm saying. That's the end of the presentation. That's it. I mean that's the presentation. I worked hard on that. But yeah, so that's my goals. That's what I wanted to talk about. Good news. I've been reapproved to start streaming on Zander Live again. So content there will start coming soon as well. I'm also hopeful that, I can maybe start balancing things out a little better with my sleep schedule, but that wasn't on there. But yeah, that's my goals for now. Just to walk you guys through everything I've got going on there. Just, a way to essentially keep you all in the loop of what I've got going on and my goals, my desires, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm excited. I hope you're all excited as well for what is going to be a huge year of content across all my channels. Whether you're just supporting one of them, whether you're supporting all of them, whether you're supporting a mix of them, I'm really excited to take this next step and to do content that I think you guys are gonna love. So I've got 30-ish minutes till I need to be over on LS11 Universe. And so I suppose I'm over on Twitch. I'm on Zander LS11 right now. I guess I need to get the actual stream set up. I'll put the Sonic music back on. Put the Sonic music back on just so we have something to listen to. And I'll get the stream set up over on LS11 Universe. I don't know if I'm going to do the Raw watch-alongs on Twitch. I think that feels kind of like a cop-out to do those here. Because people don't really seem as interested in watching those on Twitch. And we've got our YouTube-based audience at this point. So we'll go back over to YouTube for the Raw watch-along. But yeah, I mean, the figure reviews are doing great. I'm looking at it today. I uploaded a classic Eggman review today. And it's already sitting at 400 views in the first 8 hours, which is more than LS11 Universe gets in a lot of cases. Like, Zander LS11, in terms of, like, watch time and views, is on par with LS11 Universe right now. So once the stop-motion stuff starts, I think we're going to hit the ground running. I really do. I think Zander LS11 could overtake LS11 Universe. Which is just insane to think about at this rate. But it's a distinct possibility. So let me get the live stream set up over on LS11 Universe. And I'll probably end this stream a little early, give myself, 30 minutes to recuperate, get some water, hopefully dinner maybe if Alex has dinner done. And then we'll meet back over on LS11 Universe to discuss more of the future. And I just got a text from Alex. It says dinner's ready when you come get it, or I'm in the middle of telling the internet about my life. Perfect. So that's actually perfect timing. I'm going to get the stream set up over on LS11 Universe. And I'll see you guys over there in 30 minutes. So, yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble and talk myself through everything. Hold me accountable. Hold me accountable. Tonight on stream, we're going to make the first schedule. So, join me over on LS11 Universe in about 30 minutes. I'll see you all there. Had a lot of fun. Until then, I've been Zander. That was a live stream. Zander11 fans on YouTube, stay tuned. Big stop motion stuff coming. Might even have a ZSMCU timeline inspired by my buddy Tatum later on this week. Twitch fans, stay tuned. Not today, but stay tuned. Might be back with some gameplay stuff later this week. I'm going to release my first schedule tonight, and we're going to see what I can squeeze in places. Alright, bye everyone.